This is the story of how Centre for Universal Design Australia, or CUDA as we call it, got started. It's a story of community advocacy. Community advocacy or citizen action usually gets going when governments fail to act. It's also a story of passion and commitment by a few determined people. And one of the drivers for getting together to work together is when new thoughts about justice and rights arise. The term universal design is used by the UN in the Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, and it's also in the Sustainable Development Goals, which has the tagline of "Leave no one behind." The aim of both is inclusion. Although many other terms are used with similar goals, universal design is an internationally recognised term, and that's why we chose it. But it all started with a phone call and a cup of coffee, and that was in 2013. As an events manager working in the fields of ageing and disability had heard of universal design, and he thought it'd be a good idea to run a conference on the topic, and someone gave him my name. Long story short, in 2014 we had our first conference in Sydney, and the Chief Officer from the Centre for Excellence in Universal Design in Ireland was our keynote speaker, and you can see him there on the right hand side of the slide. At the end of the conference there was a call by other speakers and delegates to set up a centre in Australia. In 2015 we began preparing for another conference for the following year in 2016, but what were we going to do about the call for universal design for a centre here in Australia? The answer? Well, with no money and no organisational backing, the only route was the virtual one. A website, free software, made this possible. So I taught myself to create a website using YouTube tutorials. Each week I collected items that ranged from academic research to magazine articles. The software included an option to create a newsletter, and one has been sent out every week since 2015 to subscribers. And we currently have 500 of them, and we haven't really promoted it at all. The next step was to become a legal entity. Again, another chance meeting, and this time with a chartered accountant, and he helped to set up the organisation as an ASIC-listed not-for-profit company. That means we can have members. We also became a charity soon afterwards, which means we can take donations. By the time the 2016 conference came around, we could announce the establishment of CUDA, but our equity remained only in the passion and volunteer effort of a few people. So what have we achieved since then? Well, we've run workshops and seminars, and of course in 2018 we had our third conference. This time it was in Brisbane. These have turned out to be great learning and network events, and we're having our fourth one in May in 2021. Our 2020 conference obviously got affected by COVID. The other thing we've done is we've created 2 online learning programs. They're free to do. The first was an introduction to universal design, and that was completed and launched in 2018. And it continues to have a completion rate of 45%, which is very good for a free course. The second is on housing policy and how universal design principles can solve both social and environmental sustainability issues. Posting newsletter items on social media helps get the messages out on a regular basis and creates opportunity for discussion. It helps maintain international connections as well. The website remains the cornerstone of our operations. It has more than 1,200 posts in several categories, quite a few, and we currently receive an average of 4,000 views a month. And as you can see from the map there, and we have views from almost every country in the world. Getting the message out to new audiences is our key strategy, and that means countering myths and educating. Universal design is not another name for disabilities design. It can be inclusive design, design for all, human-centred design, user-centred design, but other people have given me other names such as careful design and thoughtful design, and in the end, it's just good design. Inclusion is an abstract concept. It's about everyone, about belonging. One message perhaps we could use is that universal design is about the ones we love. And here are our details for the website, email, and the conference paper that goes with this PowerPoint is also listed there as well. Thank you for listening.